Welcome to Penguin Talk from Penguin, the UK biggest publisher. I am Harry Pinero, and today we are joined by Lawrence Okolie. How are you today, my brother?
Yes, I'm good, thanks. How are you keeping?
Oh, I'm blessed. It's not every day we get to speak to a world champion. So for those people who don't know who we're speaking to today, I'm going to give you a little brief explanation about who Lawrence is. So Lawrence was serving burgers in McDonald's when he saw Anthony Joshua win the gold medal in the Olympics. Now, for a lot of young people, that was a proper, inspirational moment. And he decided from that moment to become a boxer. And just 4 years later, he ended up representing Great Britain at the Olympics. He turned professional in 2017, going on to win the British, European, Commonwealth, and WBA, Continental Cruiserweight Championships belt. If you don't know already, he is now the WBO champion of the world. So, Lawrence Okolie, before we even get into it, again, I must say, how does it feel to have all those accomplishments?
It feels good. Obviously, I'm still on the journey. There's more stuff I want to do, but I feel happy. I feel proud. It feels better hearing you say it. So thank you again. And I'm excited.
All right. Before we get into it, you can submit your questions in the Ask a Question box. Stay to the end of the talk where we'll be answering those questions and we're providing a free audiobook to download Dare to Change Your Life. Now, Lawrence, before we get into your story, before the moment of you working in McDonald's, how did you find school and what was your career purpose? What did you want to do with yourself?
To be honest, I kind of had the idea I was going to end up either becoming a manager at McDonald's or I was pushing towards becoming a social worker. I was, trying to study towards that. But obviously, once I got the call up for the Great Britain team, I just decided to go with that. But yeah, those are my callings.
And when you was, studying in school and stuff, was there anything in you that you thought, I love what I'm doing, but there's something else I want to do? And how did you navigate doing that?
Yeah, throughout my time in school, obviously, it's important to get good grounding. A lot of the skills you learn in school, you take forward into later life. Like, yourself, you're amazing with English literature, and here you are now, the biggest and the best in your field.
Wow.
But what I'm basically getting at is I feel like that is how it started, but I don't think it was always my calling. I used to actually get decent to good grades, I guess, but ultimately it wasn't what sparked my interest fully. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. And why was seeing Anthony Joshua win, the gold at the Olympics such a life-changing moment for you?
I think it's because he was someone that I, saw as quite relatable. He grew up in and around London. He was not too much older than me, and I saw him, basically fulfill a lifelong dream of his. And it just sparked me. It just sparked in me. I just said, you know what, I like this. I like what I'm seeing here. I want a piece of that, and I just kind of went for it.
Yeah, it's so crazy because even myself, when I saw AJ win that, it was more thing of, like you said, it's the relatability. I felt like I could have walked past AJ on the street, or AJ could have been my cousin. And I think for him to go and achieve such a big achievements at the Olympics as well, it probably just made everyone who was young and just thought, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. Obviously, we're not as good looking as, I'll speak for myself, but it's one of those things, you can't get everything. But you're an extraordinary you're an extraordinary boxer in many ways, including how quickly you went, from obesity to the Olympics, and being vegan in an industry that's dominated by a lot of meat eaters, including myself. But do you think you have the ability to go against societal norms, and has that helped you become more successful?
I think it's more so peer pressure. I think obviously saying no to peer pressure. So even something as simple as dietary, telling people I want to be vegan. I had a lot of peer pressure from, nutritionists, people in boxing, no, you need the meat to be super strong. And
what did mummy say? Because mummy has this stew.
I don't call that peer pressure, but there was definitely pressure. Obviously, I'm Nigerian descent, so my mum and dad is all about the meat and all the stews and the fish in all of the stir fries and whatever else. So that was a hard transition for mum because obviously, she loves and she loved and loves cooking for me. So when I snapped, no, thank you. It was a hard one, but obviously over time she's learned different, things that I like that I can still eat, you know. But that was an interesting conversation to start with, but now she's on board.
No, that's amazing, man. We love when, you know, mum's always supportive. But one of the main reasons that people don't make big changes in their lives is the fear of failure. I myself only basically took the leap to kind of do what I wanted to do in my life at the age of 27. So I went through a lot of stuff myself. But from your own experience, how can young people get past this block that they set for themselves?
I think the main thing is just believing in yourself. I think people say it, you know, all the time, believe in yourself and this, but it's the most important factor, because in my opinion, everything else comes off that. So when you took the leap of faith at 27, you believed in yourself. You said, you know what, okay, cool, I can do this. I'm meant to go on and be this or do that. And with that, it meant that you were allowed to do the other stuff, like sacrifice or prioritize or work hard. You can't do all of those things because they're difficult to do unless you have the inner belief that it's going to pay off, it's going to be worth it. So ultimately, I think it's all about believing in yourself and believing in where you want to get to. And once you've put those things really within yourself, anything is possible.
No, 100%. Another big influence in young people's lives is social media. How have you managed to rise to fame, and how do you engage with social media?
I don't know if I'm famous yet.
Oh no, you are. I saw you on Box Office TV. Yeah, many times.
Is that?
Yeah. World champion. It's the world, not Europe. It's the world. You know.
I hear you.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that makes me famous. So cool. Thanks for that. But how did I rise to? I think I just carried on doing. If I'm famous now, then I got there by just working hard. All the other stuff comes with it. I didn't do anything like out of the ordinary. I just kept on grinding on what I was doing. And obviously, the better that you are at stuff, the more eyes that have on you. Like, how did you get to become famous?
The thing is, I think it's similar to what you're saying. I was just focused primarily on dropping content as consistent as possible. I had a lot of good people that was already in the scene already, Moda comedians, Michael Dapper, you know, Steve-O the Madman. And one thing about them, they all had consistency. So I thought to myself, if I'm going to actually try and be on the same level as these people or get the same recognition, there's no way I can't work as hard as them, or even I have to even work harder than them, because they've set the standard and I need to make it, you know, a bigger standard. And I think the process I enjoyed, because again, I loved doing what I was doing. And I think it goes back to what you were saying. You actually have to have a passion for something that is, you know, if you want to have a career in it, because you will get bored. It's similar to like a lot of things. You know, I went to college and studied some stuff, which, you know, and then I didn't end up doing because I didn't have the love for it. Whereas with this, it's a passion. So I can't stop doing this. And I think it's the same with you. But, you know, wow, that's so deep. I might cry, guys. Sorry. I mean, look, this is so emotional.
Take a moment.
Yeah, I'll take a moment. All right. Anyway, so what advice would you give young people who haven't discovered what they want to do with their future?
Just take your time. Take your time. It's not everyone that's going to have a eureka moment or whatever. Just take your time. And also, don't be afraid to self-reflect. Take some time out. It doesn't have to be every day, but, you know, as regularly as you can, take a moment and just stop and think to yourself, who am I? What do I enjoy? What do I like? What don't I like? Am I happy? If I'm not, what would make me more happy? And once you answer these kind of questions, the truth will always show itself. So just take time. Maybe, you know, obviously, for example, social media is a main thing that takes a lot of time, or, you know, play anytime you can get to just stop and think, I think take it and use it to sort of give yourself direction.
Yeah. Now, in the beginning of your journey, you know, documented that you suffered with obesity, and you was working at McDonald's, which, you know, a lot of people are working at McDonald's because, you know, it's not the biggest job in the world. But how was that for you, and what did you do to overcome, you know, the social norms at that time?
I think I actually really enjoyed my time at McDonald's. Funnily enough, I know it's said in like you end up in, you know what I mean. It was an enjoyable experience. You know what I mean? It was an enjoyable experience. When that video came out, it did make me laugh.
Yeah, of course.
But ultimately, I enjoyed it. The thing is, I had to just kind of just kind of understand what I was doing. I mean, I needed money, and I didn't want to go down a different route. There was other ways to make money in my area, and I chose, you know, to make it legitimately. And ultimately, you can't allow social pressure or anything to make you feel a certain type of way about doing what you have to do. I forgot the rest of the question, but could you quickly remind me?
Yeah, in regards to the obesity side of things, and how was you dealing with that alongside, working in McDonald's?
I was just enjoying the lunch breaks. You know what I'm saying? I was just really enjoying, you know what I mean? I got the ins and outs. I learned all of the tricks, which, got me more chips. Anyone listening here, I'm gonna let you know a little, actually, no, I'll keep some secrets. But listen, it's all good. McDonald's was fun. But ultimately, I started having to make sacrifices. So I still, to this day, enjoy food more than most, probably. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy large amounts. I don't know what being full up is, basically.
Of course.
So I have to kind of set myself, okay, this is what you're going to eat. I don't care. If you want to eat more afterwards, don't do it. So I just had to kind of just get a little bit of discipline, and then that kind of helped a lot. And just understood that I didn't want to, be overweight anymore. A lot of times I think I used to tell myself, oh, it's okay though. I'm not like, I'm still alive and well, whatever. But I didn't want to be overweight anymore. So I decided to make changes towards that.
Yeah, I mean, that journey, I think, because one thing I loved about your journey was you was very honest about what you had gone through before you obviously became who you are right now. And I think the message I want to, for the people that's listening is that he owned a situation that people probably frowned and laughed at him about. And because he knew that he was going to change it. And I think the reason why that resonated with me as a content creator was because when I was starting, I'm sure some of you probably don't know how I started off. I was jumping off stairs, jumping off staircases, and it genuinely looked mad to people that didn't understand what my purpose was. And I knew what my purpose was, which was to, become the person I am today. And I saw that in your journey, because it's like, nobody sees what your, the end goal while you're trying until it's done. And then that's when you get your plaudits. But it's always good to know that, you actually thought you could do it. But another question I wanted to ask about, the boxing side of things with you is, when you're going into the ring, even though you've trained and you've done all the preparation for it, what is it like walking into the ring, like nerves-wise? Because I always watch boxers and I think, yeah, this walk must be so scary. Like legs must be jelly.
I think over time it got easier. Like now I almost think it's weird how relaxed I am when I'm going out. I have to ask, is this normal? Like, because I do it all day, every day, I just kind of built up a tolerance to like dealing with pressure and the occasion. Like here, there's people watching. I can't see anyone, but I know everyone can see me, and you just have to kind of deal with it and go with it. And just kind of work so hard and so meticulously outside of the big occasion, that when it comes to the time to do what you're meant to do, you're comfortable in that space. I.e., you got someone like Usain Bolt, I use as an example. No one sees him do that 100-meter sprint in training, but he's got it. So when it's time to do it on the big stage, you've done it so many times before, it just becomes that muscle memory. Yeah. So I don't really feel nervous. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware of the pressures and all that stuff. But I just say to myself, ultimately, that as much as this is a big occasion, life is bigger than this one moment.
Wow.
So it's like, if you have a test coming
up. Say that one more time, please, just for the people that didn't hear it in the back.
I said, just a bit louder.
Yeah.
Just rationalize it that life is bigger than this one moment. So any one fight, any one test, any one interview, any one, joke, life's bigger than the punchline. Do you get where I'm coming from? So you have to be able to kind of handle it and understand that this moment will come. It'll be great or whatever, and then you'll move on to the next moment. So just enjoy the process.
That's dope, man. That's dope. What 3 lessons do you want students to take away from this talk?
From this what?
From this talk.
Just believe in yourself, wholeheartedly. Another one, don't be afraid, take accountability as well. And also make sure you have good people around you as well to share that accountability. So I'll break that down for you, Harry, if you're ready for that.
Yeah, I am. I'm so ready. I'm going to take a step back.
Okay, cool. So as we said already, believe in yourself. Yeah. Once you've got that self-belief, everything else comes off. Now, the point that I think is most important after that is accountability. So you want to make content regularly, yeah? It's up to you to think of the ideas, come up with the processes, get the cameras ready, get the setup ready, get your outfit ready, get everything ready, and make it happen. You're the driving force behind it. If you want to be an electrician, you have to study the electronics or whatever. You want to be an actor, well, it's up to you to learn your lines, research in the mirror, get someone to help you out with it. So that's you, accountability. Be accountable for yourself and your actions, because anything that you get or don't get is really up to you. That's how I see it. And then finally is the having good people around and people that are able to hold you accountable. So what I mean by that is, for example, in myself in training, I told you already, I enjoy food a lot, okay? I have to say it again, a scary amount. And it's up to me to say to myself, no. But then ultimately, if I have good people around as well, and they can see I'm maybe eating more than I should, they have to be able to say, hey, hold on, champ.
Yeah.
Hold on, slow down. Third one, stop now. Yeah. Look, and that's it. And now I'm accountable for myself, but then if I might have a moment of weakness, I have people around who I've allowed to feel comfortable, to hold me accountable, and I trust that they'd have my best interests at heart. Or if I want to go out and party, I enjoy a little. I enjoy a little. Do you know what I mean? But you have to have people around that are able to. You get it. You get it. And you have to have people around that are able to kind of help you to kind of like, no. That's it. And you know who's good for you and who's not good for you. You know. So just those three things I think are super important.
That's dope. I'm going to ask you one question, because your book, Dare to Change Your Life, has done amazing. It's doing amazing. Still, to this day, waiting for my signed copy. I don't. Is that the wrong postman? Okay, I think that's the postman. But how important was that, and how scary was it to open up about your personal life in detail in a book and give it out to the world?
I think I only heard the last part of that question. I don't know why. But how did it feel to let that out to the world?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think for me it was positive. I think it was a little bit nerve-wracking in the initial sense. Two reasons. One is that I'm still relatively young, so I'm still learning a lot more and building. However, meeting someone like Fern Cotton, who heard my story and said it's almost wrong not to be able to share this. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I was really motivated because obviously I was bullied when I was young and stuff like that. So I had to kind of deal with that side. So I kind of wanted to put something out there so that anyone that's been bullied or wants something out there to maybe help them through that situation or motivate them to make a change. I thought that everyone says it's such a cliche, but if it's able to help anyone, it's worth doing. Do you get where I'm coming from? So that's that. And then in terms of putting myself out there, I think it's important to be vulnerable as well.
Very important. Very important.
It's important because you can sometimes put yourself on this like the pressure of being strong and being whatever else, but you have to also have a vulnerable side. That vulnerable side helps you to progress. Why I say that, and sorry if I'm rambling on.
No way.
Thank you. Why I say that is it allows you to get your fears out and the stuff the apprehension out before the big occasion. So for example, I said to you earlier, there's going to be a whole bunch of people watching this. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
You said, hey, listen, mate, I understand that, but ultimately just go out there, be yourself, and just tell them what's going on. And that helped me. So I was vulnerable in that moment, and then you helped me, Harry. So I want to say thank you, not just to you, but to anyone watching as well. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Just show that side. And if you've got good people around you, they're going to be able to help you through it. Like
Harry. But you know what? It takes a strong person, a world champion, to say that sometimes even he can be scared. And I think that's the good thing about you, is that you're giving these people hope, giving these people optimism to actually be able to face their fears and tackle whatever problems that they feel like they're going to have. However, it's that time where we interact with the students that's watching now. So we've got we got the students. So we've got one question here. Big fan of you both, you and Harry. But other than the weight loss, Lawrence, how did you progress with boxing, i.e. amateurs and so on?
So obviously I started having fights. And, you know, I had to, you know, learn how to deal with the occasion. I think one of the biggest things was dealing with the nerves of it all. You know, I was going to have a boxing match against someone who, you know, is also training to fight. So I had to deal with the nerves and also be humble with it as well, because, you know, there's people who are at a higher level that you have to reach, and you can't get too carried away with the hype, and you have to actually focus on the skill. So I just really focused, put myself in some risky situations in sparring, in fights, so that I could learn quickly. And yeah, that's it. So it helped me progress.
And you know, during the amateur setup, were there any times where you felt like, oh, this is long, like I don't feel like I'm gonna make it, or do you know what?
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, those thoughts used to come into my head. I think, you know, as I said, it's the lack of experience. So I put myself in the deep end quite quickly. So there's times where I've lost as an amateur, and those are the hard ones. You know, you come home, you've got a black eye or a, you know, cracked rib or something like that, and it's like, wow, this is actually painful. You know, I could just go and start eating McDonald's again. Like, why am I doing this? But you know, I just stuck at it, and you know, fortunately it's paid off, and you know, hopefully it will continue to pay off.
No, God willing. You are a man that's a jack of all trades, so this question is amazing. What is next in your career?
Now, when you say career, which one?
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, talk to them.
Thank you. So if you're talking about boxing, here we have a world title.
Okay, let them know, because I was waiting for it to come out and I didn't understand why it wasn't there. So guys, if you don't know what that is a WBO what?
World
Championship belt.
That's the one.
Okay.
So I put that down there. So I'm looking to fight someone else who considers himself a champion and take their belt. So I'm looking to be the only champion in the world at my weight. So that's the aim. If you're talking about music, I've got more music coming out in the coming weeks. Harry, I'll send you some exclusives. You'll be listening to that later on.
See you in Dubai doing bits. Okay.
There's a game coming out for any boxing fans out there, or any fans of games at all. There's a boxing game coming out. It's just really exciting. My manager is telling me that I could be in a movie.
I'm saying, okay, cool. Tall, 6 foot, okay. 5'6", something.
That's it, 6'5", yeah.
So it's got to be the main figure.
Sure.
I'm thinking you need to save someone, because you do save a lot. So maybe you are the man that saves a damsel in distress.
Okay.
But also you serenade her with the music, because you are an artist as well.
Oh my goodness.
Then what happens is, when they try to, you know, attack you, you use your skills.
It's a full circle. I love it.
Thank
Harry,
you.
I absolutely love it.
And I think I have to executive produce and direct.
You came up with that idea. You come up with the script as well. I'm in.
No problems. And that's it. That's how we do it over here at Penguin. All right. Another question we've got here. What inspired you to write a book, and how hard was it to write? Have you got any?
Extremely hard. Oh, sorry. What inspired me is obviously I met Fern Cotton. She, you know, obviously explained to me how, you know, my story was motivational to her, and that was, you know, mind blowing for me, because she's someone that I've seen, you know, at the top of what she does as well. So to hear that, you know, my story, which is that, as at the time, it was just my story, my life was motivational to her. That really helps. And in terms of actually writing, it was very difficult, because, you know, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of vulnerability. It takes, you know, do I want to put this in there? Don't I want to put this in there? Do I want, you know what I mean? And even just the structuring as well, because I was very cautious of not allowing it to become an autobiography. Yeah. I really wanted it to be able to, I don't know, be an easy read, make sense for people, and break down comfortably. There are 41 steps, however, it flows from one into the other. Do you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get your book and it will be signed. Yes. But yeah, that's that.
Do you have any advice for anyone that is trying to go down the route you've taken in terms of writing a book about, you know, what they've gone through and trying to give people some sort of, you know, inspiration? Yeah,
I think a good method is one that I learned at Stoke Newington School. I don't know if they're here listening, but shout out to Stokey. Is mind mapping. So what it is you start with a center point, and then you branch off from there. So for example, if it's a book or any, let's say a book, for example, you start with the centerpiece, Like, what's the message of the book? You know, then you break off into it, and in terms of like, okay, what would I want it to do? So it might be motivate. Okay, how? And then you branch off, and you just go on different things. If it's, you know, to be a presenter, it's presenting, and then off that, smile, which you got a great smile, champ.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and then and you just go from there to the, you know, I think you start off with a centerpiece, break off, and once you've got all these different pieces, it makes it less daunting as a task, and then you work on each little bit, and then it'll all come together. And don't be afraid to get help.
Yes. Oh, you know, I was waiting for that one, but you have a way of doing things where you save the best till last, because
yeah, that's how you do it.
It's a talent. It's a talent. You should be very proud of yourself. But yeah, with the help outside of things, I think anyone that doesn't get help from anyone is blocking blessings, because I feel like we all need help. We're talking about the guy who owns Amazon. He needed help. Elon Musk. He needed help. So this is all part of it. So we've got a question here from one of my favorite schools in the world, Lytham St Anne's High School in Lancashire. Who was your favorite fight against?
My favorite fight would probably be my last one, because I managed to win the world title.
You managed to, pardon what?
I managed to win the world title. The
Okay,
world championship. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that would probably be my favorite one so far. But there's more to come.
Yeah. What's that feeling like though? You know, winning that title. And what was the conversation like with your parents who've seen the whole journey?
Yeah, it was a great moment. I did feel relieved as opposed to like overly ecstatic, because I'd already, you know, mentally prepared myself for it. You know, I'd already visualized it. So the moment coming to reality was like, okay, we did it, you know. But then I'm such a forward thinker. I'm just like, you know what's next? I want another belt, this, that, another. So it was a great moment. I've had to take time to just stop, embrace it, you know, be happy in this particular moment. And for my parents, yeah, it was a great moment for them as well. You know, my dad, we share the same name, so he's running around telling everyone he's the world champion, basically, because without him, none of it's possible, right? I mean, so there's that, and then obviously you've got my mum, who, you know, she was extremely excited, to put it quite simply. You know, it was great to see pride in her eyes. Not to say she wasn't proud of me before, but if she's been proud, she's been able to kind of, well done. This one,
it's okay, Lawrence. That's good.
Yeah. This one she couldn't hold in. So that was great. It was great.
We've got another question here. Did you also take inspiration from older fighters like Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, I think that those ones came with knowledge. So I had to research them, find out, you know, their stories, their fighting styles, and then yeah, of course, you know, I think you can find inspiration from them and from anyone really.
Yeah, I think I found a lot of inspiration from people that was doing this stuff before me, and I think for the young people that's watching right now, there's no shame in looking at someone else who's there before you, and you know, using their blueprint to kind of modify and make your own. Because before someone else, there's always someone else, and you should never feel afraid to say, you know what, I'm gonna take some, you know, tips from this person and make it into mine. All right. A-level students studying PE at Lord Horson on Beamish Academy would like to know, what did you eat for breakfast?
Today?
Yes.
What did I have actually? I had oats. I knew it was going to be a big day. I've got training straight after this. So I fueled up on oats, got some, you know, fruits in there, you know. And yeah, that's it really. Nothing exciting.
There's lots of questions coming in, Lawrence, about being a vegan boxer, because it's kind of unheard of. You're like one of few, if any. So what's a vegan dish that we all need to try from Lawrence? By the way, this is another thing I think you should tap into, being a chef as well, Lawrence Okolie.
You know what? Okay, you know, we'll get into that. I know it said, but yeah, I think what's a vegan dish? I think pretty much they're all the same as anyone else, like any, you know, meal that you have. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you just take the meat out and the eggs and stuff like that. So I think my favorite is probably Italian or Thai food, actually. Like a Thai sort of vegetable stir fry. You know,
Thai.
Nice, without, you know, the meat and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I've got a question from Hayden, my guy at KES. Was there anyone in particular who pushed you to follow your dream?
Obviously my mum, but everyone says that. Who else pushed me to follow my dream? My little brother as well. Do you know what I mean? he was very vocal. I think he could see what would happen if I made it. Congratulations, Henry, you did it. What else was there? Who else? I mean, everyone around. I just kept really good, positive people around. Even certain situations, you know, that may or may not have worked out, they really motivated me to carry on pushing myself to be the best I could be.
All right. I'm assuming, like as you said, there is a need for your mind and spirit to be clear from distractions, especially when you're boxing, yeah. But when do you make it a time for you to, like, you know, just chill out and meditate, if you do meditate? Or what do you use to kind of like relax your mind?
I make sure that my space is clean, you know, tidy and stuff like that, so that I can do it any night. Basically, once the space is clean and organized and stuff like that, even if you just have the space for it, you know, your bedroom or your living room, whatever, and then I just chill out pretty much I don't meditate every night, but I have moments to myself where it's just, you know what, another day done, let's keep going, champ. Do you know what I mean? And just be thankful for life as it is now and how different it could have been. And even on the bad days, just be thankful for life. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's it. I think having a clean space, organized space, it helps that distraction to be cleared up and for you to just feel free in your thoughts.
Yeah, rest is one of those things that's so important, and it's very underrated, because I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't live your life, but was there a stage in life where you thought like, if I don't do this, then I'm going to lose this, or I'm going to stop the momentum, and then you ended up working yourself out and you didn't really give the best of the quality that you've been given? Have you ever been in that position before?
Oh, where I overthought a situation?
No, you didn't allow yourself to rest. You overworked yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%. But obviously in sports, it's a lot more direct. You can feel it physically. Do you know what I mean? Then I'm sure it's transferable into mental strain as well. But yeah, definitely, I feel like it's a real thing. If you overtrain, you don't allow yourself to grow. So with training alone, you know, if you train hard every single day, you don't actually get any fitter or any stronger, because your body hasn't allowed itself time to rest and grow and get stronger and adapt to the new workload. So it's the same with anything, you know, you push yourself, but take time to relax and take the pressure off and the stress off, and go again.
Is it harder to project vulnerability to the outside world whilst being a professional boxer?
No, because obviously I'm a professional, or not for me personally anyway, because I'm so sure of myself and I believe in myself that I can let certain information out that I know, even if it's out there, I'm still going to be focused on myself and do all of those same things. So not really, because also I don't let my boxing define me as a person, or anything that I do define me. Like, I define myself. How I am with my family and friends. That's what I think is more important than what I do for a living. So I never allow it to sort of, I never put too much pressure on it.
We've got a question here from St. Edward's Church of England Academy. I see you lot live and direct. How do you handle pressure, Lawrence?
Yeah, that just like that. I'm aware of it, and and I understand that it's there. However, I just rationalize it. I take away all of the noise. So if you talk about me having a fight, you know, there's millions of people that are going to watch it around the world. There's potential memes. If it doesn't go your way, you'll be on social media, not in the right way. And all of that stuff. And I just say, you know what, none of that stuff's important. What's important is the task. And the task is to block punches, throw punches, and try and win a boxing match. And ultimately, the way I really look at it is that, you know, where I am now compared to where I started off, everything's a blessing. So I don't have to box. I choose to, and I want to.
Yes.
Or moreover, I get to. So I get to fight, you know. So when I'm going to the match, I could say, right, before I walk into this ring, if I want to, right this second, I could say, no, I'm not walking. And that's that. So everything's a choice, and I get to be happy knowing that I get to put on display what I train hard for every day. So I'm happy to do it.
I can't lie, this is so emotional. I'm fighting back tears. But anyway, sorry, let me just cream my lips, because there's no way I'm going to continue this. The lips are dry. Sorry to all the schools that's watching right now. I'm sorry if you saw some dry stuff on Harry's lips. This is it's camera tricks. Anyway, In the book, yeah, you talk about your name. Can you tell us about that and what changing it did for you? Is it something that you wanted to do, or was it just a thing where, you know?
Okay, my African, yeah. So Ikechukwu is my Igbo name. It's one of my Nigerian names,
Yeah.
and it means God's power
Yes.
in my language, which is quite fitting. Thank you. And basically, I was bullied for it, but it wasn't my first name. So
Yeah.
when I went to secondary school, I started using my first name.
Yeah.
So it was a bit easier for people to say and stuff like that. It's one that I'm very proud of, and I still put on my shorts, and people are aware of it and stuff like that. But obviously Lawrence is my first name, so I'm more accustomed to hearing that now.
Yeah, I think a lot of young people, especially growing up, especially being African, there was this thing where, because our names are very powerful names, and they're not the westernized names or whatnot, it can be easy for people to feel, I don't want people to know my name. But again, this is another example of owning where you're from. And I think we're at a place right now where our communities are coming together in terms of being accepted. Your name could be whatever it is, and that's your name, and they're owning it. So again, shouts out to you for that, man, because we all went through that. Have you ever experienced issues with your own mental health, and how did you deal with it? This is from Copburn School in Leeds.
My own, I wouldn't say I haven't been through any major sort of moments. Obviously, I've dealt with like loneliness and mild, bits of feeling sad. But I think those are things that you go through in certain situations. If you have some sort of a loss or whatever like that, it can affect you. But I don't think I've had any major sort of moments where I felt like it was all coming down. But like I said, in those moments of loss or sadness, or whatever, I just kind of focused on what I need to do as a person and just what I want out of the future. So I couldn't allow myself to dwell too much on those feelings of sadness.
Yeah, I think I'm the same to some capacity. I mean, mine was more, I had I think major depression, in the sense of knowing that this is not what I want to be, this is not who I want to be, and knowing that I've got friends around me who are so successful now, and feeling I'm inadequate to kind of be around them. I used to kind of not go and check my friends. And I remember one time my friend called me and he goes, "Bro, I know you're broke. I know you don't have no money, but bruv, we didn't become friends because of your money." He goes, "Come and link me now." And when I got off the phone, I felt so relieved. I felt like finally whatever I was holding back on, my friends could see. So that helped me. And then I started to realize that the reason why I'm depressed is because I know I can do better, but I'm not allowing myself to do better. I'm not allowing myself to get out of this slump that I'm in, and not to think, negatively. And I remember just going at it. And you know what? It's so scary in the beginning when you start, because it's there's no guarantee that it's going to work. But that's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it, because it's a 50-50 chance. And I'd rather take that chance than do nothing. And I think a lot of people that I speak to who are very successful do have that same problem where, it gets very negative and you start to think, what do I do? And then they just have a next, elusive life. So yeah, so shout out to anyone who's suffering right now, thinking that there's no way out. There always is. There always is. I've got another question here. Love your Igbo name. Igbo. That's a beautiful name. How do you feel about dual heritage?
About dual heritage?
Your dual heritage, yeah.
Well, as in, I'm half Yoruba, half Igbo, so it's all Nigerian. But I guess within Nigeria, it's a bit of a. Or do you mean being born in Britain and being Nigerian descent? I think
for the purpose of both.
Okay. Oh well, the half and half in terms of the tribes in Nigeria. Yeah, it was interesting. Because I think at that time as well, it didn't happen that often. So it's interesting, when I go back, I think I really feel it, because it's which tribe are you claiming when you go back? Do you know what I mean? So that'll be interesting later on this year when we're allowed to fly again. And in terms of being obviously a first generation in this country, born in this country, I think it was interesting because there was certain stuff that would happen at home that was bizarre in school. If you spoke about other African kids, they got it. You know what I mean? We can laugh and joke, but you say it to someone that's not of the same descent, you're going to find out that it's very, very different. But I think that's the beauty of even like a school like Stoke Newington. Once again, if you're here, shout out Stoke Newington, which is very that diverse, multicultural. So you start to learn different people have different ways of doing it, different cultures have different you know, rituals and ways of doing stuff. So for me, it was interesting. I think Nigerians that I know anyway are very like vibrant and, you know, characters and stuff like that. So I think that kind of pushed me in that way.
Speaking about your old school, have you gone back to your school, Stoke Newington, since being world champion? And what was it like if you did go back? And I'm guessing the support you probably have from your community is crazy.
Yeah, so I haven't been back since the world title. I think that only now schools are really getting back into that kind of thing now. I will be going back 100%. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, is Miss Gammon still the head teacher?
Let me call her now. Let me call her now, Miss Gammon.
Let me find out. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely go back there. I think it's important as well, you know, because I still remember like secondary school as if I was there yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And the people that came in to see us and those sort of days, you never know who's going to motivate you in what way. Do you know what I mean? So interesting.
Yeah, I remember when I was in school. Yeah, Rio Ferdinand came to our pitch. To, Super Skills pitch. That's what it was called. And I wasn't there that day, innit?
Oh,
guess what? I told everyone I was there.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I told everyone I was there. I said, yeah, I was there. I was there at that event. Mm-hmm. All right, this one's from St. Edward's Church of England Academy. Have you ever thought about quitting boxing?
Not anymore. But yeah, I mean,
of course. Why would you now?
Yeah, trust. But early days, you know, there was, like I said, when I had certain injuries or, you know, stuff wasn't going my way, I started thinking, you know what, there must be easier ways to make a living or things to do. Do you know what I mean? I used to look at my friends who, you know, I didn't drink anymore, or when they're going out, I wasn't going out as much or whatever. You just think, you know what? Why not just become a full-time rapper or something like that? I don't know, where you could just like enjoy it. But ultimately, you know, I stuck to my guns. I didn't, you know, choose not saying rap or anything, but I didn't choose like the easy option of just enjoying in that short term. I thought long term. And now, you know, now we're enjoying more.
Yeah, of course, more. How would you advise us to deal with losses, especially when you have to be a strong believer that you will win? Man, that's if I'm correct, 16-0.
16-0 as a professional. I think the thing is that just knowing that long term you're going to win. So I think there's a saying, something like, you know, you may have won the battle, but you haven't won the war. So in this, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So if you're going through it, you know, and you come up against a hurdle, you might trip, you might fall, might deal with a bit of embarrassment, a bit of a knock on the pride, whatever. If you're absolute in that belief in yourself and where you want to get to, you're thinking to yourself, well, I've taken this loss, but ultimately I've also gained a lesson, learned what I could do better, what I could change, so that I don't have to go through this again. And ultimately you become better, and then it makes you more equipped to get to that end goal anyway. So sometimes losses are actually positive. I'm not saying go out there and just take L, but if you do take L's and stuff like that, you know, understand as long as you take the time to reflect on them, to learn from them, you're going to get better every single time and go on for your end goal.
All right, we've got 2 more questions left. What's the hardest thing you've had to face in your professional career so far?
Probably just obviously believing in myself when maybe other people didn't believe in me. I think that was difficult. Obviously, you know, now it's all cool, world champion.
Yeah, of course. Every time you say it, you must bring it. Of course,
yeah. But ultimately, you know, before I got to this point, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, even on social media as well, oh, you're not good enough, or people, you know, in and around, it's like, maybe not. But ultimately, I believed in myself, and it ended up paying off. So that's probably one of them. And what else? I think just not allowing personal stuff to kind of affect my professional movings. You know, obviously I feel like obviously we all have our own personal lives and stuff that affects us, and just, you know, through all of that, just saying, you know what, I've got something that's bigger than, you know, certain situations that I need to go to and accomplish. And, you know, I think those are the 2 hardest, but I'm happy that I overcame and I've got to this point, and I still have more to do.
Thank God. Okay, last question from Jimbo. Shout out Jimbo, what a name.
Yeah.
What tips can you give us about how you change your life so dramatically?
Like I said, same thing I've been saying. I'm just going to drill it home again.
Drill it one more time.
Believe in yourself.
1.
You are in charge of your destiny.
2.
Accountable. Be accountable for yourself.
That's numero 3.
Make sure that you have good people around who are going to hold you accountable and you trust that they have your best interests at heart. With those things there, everything else can spring off of it. And you're going to go up and enjoy.
Listen, Lawrence, I've done a lot of things in my life, but this is probably one of the most inspirational ones because I can't see, the people that are viewing this, but I can understand that I felt inspired. So I'm sure that they felt inspired from it. Big thank you for taking part in this.
Thank you.
And we wish you the best. And your book, amazing. Can't wait for it to come through that door. Still waiting.
It might, as soon as this is over, it might land.
Wow. I mean, that's a big statement, guys. Look out for my social media. Yeah. If it doesn't land. But for those who are still here, please fill out the short feedback survey to get your free audiobook sample of Dare to Change Your Life. The link is in the description below. If you enjoy this event, head over to the YouTube and subscribe to Penguin platform for more Penguin talks, book chat, and book giveaways. Guys, I've got a secret to tell you, yeah? The color of the talk is yellow. Peace up, A-Town down. I've been Harry Pinero. We are winning.
Let's go, champ.